Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're continuing our talk about Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. And this one's going to be less a review and more of just a talk and discussion about the movie with some spoilers. So that's a pre-warning. There will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Don't watch this video. Go watch it, then come and watch this video. And if you want to know a little bit about the movie before you watch it, if you haven't seen it, which is weird, I have a review with minimal spoilers, tiny little things that aren't that big of a deal, more of just detail. So check it out and then go check out the movie and then come back and check out this video because you have to see this movie. Please. It's a good movie. Check it out. Alright, so the movie starts off with the opening scene being the funeral of Martha and Thomas Wayne, Bruce's parents. And Bruce just takes off into the woods, and then we get flashbacks to how they died, and we see him walking out of the theater. And then just a little side note, on the wall we see a poster of the Mask of Zorro, which is awesome because that's what they originally went to go see. Geek out moment right there. The new take on how they die was actually really cool. I know that sounds messed up, but it was really badass. For one, my favorite part of this scene, how Martha dies, because I know this sounds really messed up, but when the gun gets like interlocked like with the pearls and he shoots, and when it kicks and it breaks, the pearls go everywhere, and I was like, that's genius. So then we finally get our first look at Superman in this movie, and it's when Lois gets captured in Africa because she went there to have an interview. She gets captured, and this dude who is credited as Jimmy Olsen has a camera, and they find like a CIA like tracking chip in it. He got shot real quick. And I was like, that was Jimmy Olsen? That's fucked up. They're like, here's Jimmy Olsen. Next. I was like, alright, we didn't want him in the movies, I guess. So he shows up, and when he shows up, it's a setup because these other dudes that were hired, like mercenaries, shoot everybody. Kill everybody and then burn the place and head out. He arrives, crashes straight through the ground, and this dude's holding Lois hostage with the gun to her head, and he's like, I'll kill her. You want to see the inside of her head and stuff. And Lois kind of looks at him and like lets go of his arm and kind of relaxes. Superman does his thing and takes his dude through about 4 walls. Pretty sure that guy's died. That's our intro to Superman in this movie, and you're just like, that was fucked up, Superman. You're supposed to save people. I mean, you could probably just grab the gun or just grabbed him, but alright, just take him out. So that's kind of like where this movie's going, but I understand why. And if you watch the movie and you pay attention, you understand why. He's a rookie. He's been Superman for 18 months, almost 2 years, working on 2 years. So he's figuring things out because he's only been the Clark Kent that worked the Daily Planet for the same amount of time. So he's figuring out who he is and what he's doing and how he's doing it. So I understand that. And then we see the first appearance of Batman, which I thought was awesome. This first scene is really cool because the first appearance of Batman is in Gotham, of course, and these cops show up to this house. House is all creepy looking. It looks kind of scary movie like. You're just kind of like, what the hell? And they show up and you see these like women in a cage, and they're like trying to open the cage, like, we'll help you out. And they shut, and they're like, nope, it's safe in here. Some fucking creatures in here. And they're like, we're trying to help you. And there's like a language barrier, and she points up. She's like, that fucking thing is still here. She's this dude's all tied up, and in the corner of the wall you just see Batman, and he's about to shoot, and just Batman scurries across the ceiling and disappears up, and you're just like, what the, which I thought was genius because that helps sell Batman's thing. He's a creature, he's a giant bat, he's a monster, he's a devil, demon, whatever. He's not a man in a suit, he's some kind of creature. So it tells you like that's how he's scaring criminals. Like even the people he went to save were like, nope. So I thought that was really cool. One of the first times you really see the sell of the fear of the bat. So that was awesome. When you see Wallace, the dude with the no leg, he's getting set up. You see him doing like taping and stuff, and he grabs a picture of his family. But right behind that picture is a shout out to the first Action Comics first appearance of Superman when he's like holding up a car, and it was really badass. So it's really cool, and I thought that was neat. So it's really quick, so you kind of got to be ready for it. Take a bucket of piss and call it Granny's peach tea. Take a weapon of assassination and call it a deterrent. You won't fool me or fly. That is a quote by Holly Hunter, aka Senator Finch, in this movie when she's having a discussion with Lex Luthor in the dad's old study, and because he's trying to get this giant kryptonite rock, weaponize it, and he calls it a deterrent, and she's like, I'm blocking that because I know what you want it for. Right after this, we do get a badass second dream scene, and he has a trench coat and flowers, and he walks into the mausoleum where his parents are buried, puts the flowers, and the emphasis on Martha Wayne, and you see blood starts to come out, and he touches it, and then a huge ass bat comes out of the fuck of nowhere and scares the shit out of you. It did me. I was like, what the fuck? Bites him in the neck. I'm like, oh shit. And then he wakes up. That scene is kind of just foreshadows the importance of Martha. We'll see why. Alright, so the big party we see in the trailers a lot, where we see Diana, we see Bruce, we see Clark, and then he's like, who's that? And he goes, that's Bruce Wayne. In this part, we see the party, and he takes this computer USB thing, and Alfred's talking through a mic. And this is really neat because when he's talking to Alfred, and Alfred's talking to him, you see kind of like, and he turns around and looks at Bruce, and he can hear him talking. So like that's how he kind of figures out who Bruce Wayne is Batman. And Bruce walks down the steps and like all the mainframe to Lex's computer system and stuff at home, plugs in that device to steal all his encrypted data, and goes up to the party and socializes for 7 minutes. That's how long it takes in the movie. And this is when he sees Diana, and they kind of look at each other, and he's like looking at her, and she's walking away, and Kent walks up to him, and Clark's like, oh, Mr. Wayne, what do you think of the Bat Vigilante in Gotham? He's like, huh? I'm sorry. Pretty girl, bad habit, don't quote me. And the reason I quote this movie a lot is because I've seen it 5 times. And he's like, don't you think he's a vigilante above crime doing all this bad stuff? And he's like, aren't you kind of a hypocrite right now? Because Daily Planet writes a puff piece for Superman every time he saves a cat out of a tree. Maybe it's the Gotham City in me. We just have trust issues with people dressed like clowns. And I was like, oh shit, that's the Joker. So then, of course, Bruce goes down, 7 minutes are up or whatever. And Clark is following this time because he's hearing the conversation he's having with Alfred clear as day. And he's walking down there, and he gets distracted by the news because there's like a tragedy happening in Mexico. And Bruce goes there and he can't find it. And he looks, and then Diana is standing there, like puts something in her purse and starts walking away. And he's chasing her, but he doesn't run her down because, I mean, he's Bruce Wayne. You're going to run someone down in the middle of a party? Like, what are you doing, Bruce? Chasing this girl? What's wrong with you? So later on, Bruce finds Diana at some party, and she's like, look, little boy, it's in your glove compartment. So those are the little glimpses we get of her. No one knows her name exactly yet. He doesn't say, oh, Miss Diana. We know who it is, but no one else knows who it is. Right now, she's just a mysterious, good-looking woman. Alright, so once he gets to drive back, he's in the Batcave. He's plugged it in. You see it's like 1%, 2% decrypting. Big moment in this movie. We get the dream sequence, which we've seen parts of it. That's when it's like Nightmare Batman with trench coat. He walks out of this locker in the middle of the road, whatever terrain. There's a giant ass Omega symbol, Darkseid, and then on top there's floating pillars of fire going through the machine. Come on, Apocalypse, Darkseid. I was like, yes, that was really cool. If you caught it, a lot of people probably didn't catch it, or they're like, what the hell is that? But that's Darkseid, Apocalypse, awesome. So that's kind of a glimpse to that. What he's looking for is kryptonite in this scene, in these dream scene, and like his rebels or crew or teammates, whatever, it doesn't say what they're called, show up and they're like, we found it. And he goes in, it's just light bulbs that are green. They betrayed him, and these dudes, I'm calling them super troopers because they got the S for Superman and they're working for him like military dudes, but I call them super troopers. And they just start shooting everybody, and Batman gets pissed and starts breaking necks and pulls out a pistol and blasts people. I was like, oh shit. And it's a badass fight scene, and he's just taking dudes out. Literally at the very end, he's getting like fucking quadruple team, and he grabs this one dude, breaks his neck right in front of the camera. He's like, oh shit. Then a parademon lands, and you're like, those are parademons? And then walks up behind them, working with the super troopers, and just knocks them out. And I was like, what the hell? You're just like, what the hell just happened? Wakes up. Who arrives? Superman is walking through this like dirty hallway and shows up. Fucking laser eyes. Both the dudes next to him just dead. Walks up to him, rips off the mask. He's like, you took her from me. Puts his hand on his chest and just fucking rips his heart out or punches him straight through the chest. And I was like, dude, the first time we see them on screen, Superman just destroyed Batman. Like, this movie's over. But it's a dream scene, and we know it is. That was like, holy shit, Injustice much? But what was weird, because you can't go strictly Injustice, parademons were working with the Super Troopers. Maybe Darkseid has something over Superman, and that's the reason they're working together. We don't know. But it opens up to that idea. As soon as he does that, he wakes up, but he wakes up inside of another dream because Flash is there. And a lot of people, I guess, didn't notice it was Flash because it's not super clear, but you can see him trying to come through like a time portal, or just he's time traveling, trying to talk to Bruce. And he's like badass line, which is a little jumbled, but on purpose. And he's just like, you're right about Lois Lane's the key. And one thing I thought was funny that both me and my friend, when we went to go see it, were like, it was a little bit of humor because he's like, am I too soon? I'm too soon. And he's like, you need to find us now. Like, and then he gets back to like, you need to find us now, unite us, hurry up, you're right about him. And it's Ezra Miller. And then, like, he has this visor thing that goes up so you can see him. And then he disappears, and Bruce wakes up, and paper is floating. You're just like, what the hell? He's freaking out. That was cool. And it just really opens up the idea of this whole universe and what's really to come. So at this point, we do know that Lex Luthor is the main bad guy. But because he's pretty much playing both parties, he's sending Polaroids to Clark Kent of something that says, is this justice? Justice. He's like executioner and showing pictures of the Bat brand. And he's kind of just pushing him towards hating Batman. And then we jump to the Batmobile chasing, which was really cool because being the Batmobile is badass machine because the sleek Corvette looking tank on steroids that kicks ass. And just in case you weren't quite there yet, Batman straight up kills people. Let's be honest, he kills people here quite brutally. But we're getting an older Batman who's been through a lot, so he's more broken. So I think he's like at the point where he's like, you know what, I'm tired of this. Every time I send him to jail, they come back. Send him to Arkham, they get out and they do the same thing, and then Robin's dead. So who knows how many people he's lost. So he's kind of just like, I'm tired of this, start ending it. So he's killing people. smashing him with the car, using the gun and demolishing a vehicle and then blasting through it with those guys in there, dragging a car and then using it to smash another. And it was a badass scene, but you don't get to see a lot of the Batmobile, but you see enough to kind of glimpse it. And you're like, holy shit. That was really cool. The scene gets you, like, you're like, oh shit. And he turns this corner. Big boy, the ass is standing there, and he hits the brakes, but bounces right off of Superman. Superman's like, nah, get shit out of here. Thing bounces off, walks up, pulls open the doors. Saw this in the trailer. They stand up next to each other, face to face, and you're just like, we'll say something. And then Superman threatens him. He's like, the Batman's dead, so next time they put your light, I wouldn't go to it, alright? Consider this mercy. Books it. And then, of course, we get the famous line right before. He's like, do you bleed? You will. So you can just see how they're both clashing right there, right off the bat. All right, remember that Granny's peach tea being a bucket of piss? This is why I mentioned it, because it was funny, but it actually has a major point to do with this next scene, which the Senate calls Superman to a conference to discuss what's his plan. Who is he? Do we need him? What the hell is he doing? Because there's a lot of damage, there's a lot of casualties, and homeboy who lost his legs, Wallace, is there in a wheelchair, automatic, that Lex gave him. Shows up, he's standing there, and Senator Finch, Holly Hunter, is giving her speech, and she just looks and she stops. She says, you see this jar, a masonry jar, just fucking yellow to the top, and a note on it. You're just like, does that say tea? And she's trying to continue giving her speech, and then she starts turning it, and it says Granny's peach tea. She looks, Lex Luthor's seat is empty. Then we get a close-up on the guy in the wheelchair, Wallace. And I was like, oh shit, Lex crazy as hell. And then right away, you hear news people saying, like I thought it was like, oh shit, they're gonna blame that on Superman. Right away you hear newscasters and people saying supposedly Wallace hid the bomb in his wheelchair and so, but Superman disappears because he's devastated. He's like, I could have stopped that. I wasn't even looking, and he's afraid of that. Afraid of the fact that he showed up and didn't even look, like he didn't care. That's what major point, in this movie, because that's exactly what it tells you. Superman feels like he got comfortable and he just didn't care because he was unstoppable, but never thought about the people. So I thought that was intense. And then the whole Granny's peach tea thing, I thought that was just genius. All right, and then remember I said Lex is setting up by sending Polaroids to Clark about justice, execution, and all that for the Batman. Bruce Wayne gets the same note where it says, you let your family die, and it shows the destruction of the Wayne building from Man of Steel, but he sent it to Bruce, so he knows Bruce is the Bat. Pretty much Lex Luthor knows who everyone is, which kind of threw me off. As one of the things I didn't like, because if Lex knows who everyone is, he holds all the cards. He can be like, okay, that's Batman, that's Superman, that's Wonder Woman. Like, he can just point fingers and call it a day, ruin their lives. So I don't know what's keeping him from doing that, so maybe we'll see why he doesn't do that. And he gets that letter fucking perfectly timed, because when he gets that letter live on TV, that explosion from the Senate, so it just sets him over the top. And he's at the point where he's like, I'm gonna confront Superman, dude, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of him. Alright, cool. I want to see that. That's what I'm here for. Do it. See, Lex, he's gotten access to the fallen Kryptonian ship, and he's in the chamber, and he activates it, and he's talking to the machine, and the machine's like, we hold over 100,000 year old different worlds history. And he's like, would you like to know it? And he's like, teach me all of it. So I think that right there is how he learns about Darkseid, Apocalypse. That's how he's going to learn about all alien races and creatures in space. So that is cool. So that right there is another upper hand that Lex has, because he's learning about all this stuff that they have no idea about. But at the same time, it tells him about how, and we all know because we've seen the trailers, he creates Doomsday using General Zod's body and his own blood. He cuts his hand, drips it all over General Zod's face, and they start the metamorphosis process, which is how we get Doomsday in this movie. I'm okay with this version of Doomsday. I just felt like cutting it close, because there's quite a bit going on in this movie, but it worked out. I felt like it could have worked out better. Just a few story arcs that were kind of up and down that didn't smoothly transition, but overall it was pretty kick-ass. And continuing with that, so we know he's making Doomsday, but then we jump to the main event, Batman versus Superman fight. But before I talk about that, there's another scene happens where Bruce has stolen the rock of kryptonite from LexCorp, and he does this like build up to the fight where he is the rock into a spear like tip. He's creating these little gas bullets with the kryptonite cannon, so it explodes into kryptonite gas. At the same time, he's working out like a little montage, and he's just like, holy shit, he's getting ready to go destroy Superman, because Superman's gonna show up thinking it's just a dude. It's Bruce Wayne. He's not prepared, but Bruce Wayne, you see him working out, he's doing pull-ups with weights and pulling tires, and then shaping the kryptonite rock, and has the gas things ready. He's just like, oh shit, this is about to get 10th. Then we get to the fight. But the reason they fight, not only do they, well, I mean, the reason Batman wants to fight him is because he hates him right now. He thinks he's this power with no responsibility, with no check. So the Batman's like, you know what? I'll put you in your place. Superman doesn't confront him immediately. Lex forces him to. First by kidnapping Lois and kidnapping his mom, Martha. And when he kidnaps Lois, he's like, well, the fastest way, a street named Lois Lane, and pushes her off the LexCorp, catches her, saves her, they smooch, he's like, I'll be back, and flies up there, and he's like, I'm gonna take you in without breaking you, and Lex is like, I don't think so. That's when he finds out that he has Martha, and he's about to kill him, eyes light up red, and he's like, can't kill me, pulls out these Polaroids, he's like, you kill me, you kill Martha, you fly away, they kill Martha, I don't know where she's at. They didn't tell me. And on the Polaroids, you see it says like witch on her forehead. She's gagged. It looks fucked up. And he's like, you're a flying demon. The mother of a flying demon must be a witch. How do we kill witches? Death by fire. If you want to save Martha, I want the head of the bat. By the way, Gotham, Metropolis are sister cities. Just there's the Bay and then they're boom. Not how it is in the comic books, but I agree with this change because Superman could get wherever he needs to get super quick. Yeah. Batman, however, needs to fly in the bat jet or private jet, however he decides to get there. So them being sister cities, it allows them to be back and forth much easier. So I like that. That works for me. No big deal. Digging it. So he flies over to Gotham. Bruce is waiting there in the mecha suit. Oh, the suit looked good. The detail, the light in the eyes. And he's just waiting for him there. Just like, all right, show up, dude. We about to fight. Superman shows up, and Superman's trying to talk to him. He's like, yo, you don't understand. He's playing us, and he's trying to talk to Bruce. But Bruce at this point is like, we're not, dude. It's too late for talking. We're not talking. I'm about to beat you down and put you in your place. So he has a few traps set up. The sonic thing to mess with his ears, takes it out. Guns, takes it out. Walks up, and they walk up to each other, and he's like, you don't understand. Like, I understand it. Puts his hand on his chest and just like flick of the wrist, and just Batman goes. It's like, oh shit, it started. And then Superman right off the back is winning. And then he throws them, and they're on the roof, and he's like, if I wanted it, you'd be dead. Also in the trailer. And you're like, that's true. Really, that's true. As a Batman fan, I'm like, damn, that's true. But it's not, because it's Batman. He looks, shoots like the kryptonite gas bullet, catches it in his face, and he's breathing it in, can't breathe, he's suffocating, because of the kryptonite gas, and Batman's like, yeah, breathe it in, bitch. Doesn't quite say it like that, but you can see it in his face, that's what he meant. He's like, yeah, fuck you. And he's breathing, getting weaker, and then he walks up on him, and he tries to, that's when you see the trailer, when he blocks the hit, and he's like, what the did you just block that? And then that's when we get the fight actually starts, hand to hand, beating the crap out of each other, and Batman starts getting the upper hand and knocks him into the building. And you can see there's moments where Superman starts to regain some of his strength. Not all of it quite yet, but he starts regaining, like for example, when he's getting hit in the face, you see boom, 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 and he's just like hitting him, and there's nothing, and Batman's like, alright, it's starting to wear off. Noted. And he tackles him, and then they go and they're like in a bathroom, and he's trying to pick him up, and you see him struggle. He's like, this bitch heavy, and tosses him, and tossing him he falls, and they're both on the ground, and then he stands up and he's like regaining his strength. And that's when Batman's like, I gotta reload this gun, and pulls out like another bullet of the kryptonite gas. And one thing that we don't see in the trailers, which was really cool, is when he shoots him, Superman like rips half of the mask off in the helmet, so in the voice modulator starts acting up, so he'll speak, and then after it will sound like it's not quite balanced, but it was cool because it was damaged. And the lights are off, and he's like walking towards him, and Superman just covered in the gas again, grabs a freaking sink, smashes it on him, throws him over his shoulder, and tosses him off down through the stairwell, and just hits the ground and just chills, gets down, ties him by the ankle, and just swings his full round, tosses him. That's when he pulls out the kryptonite spear, and dude, boot to neck, and he's like, you're about to die. Not verbatim, but he's about to kill him, like straight. And that's when he's like, you're letting him kill Martha. And that's when Batman stops, and he's like, looks like he straight up does this, like, what the how do you know that name? Why would you say Martha? Why starts having a little bit of a freak out. Nonetheless, never takes his foot off of him yet. Nor does he finish the job, nor put it away. He's kind of just like, what the fuck? Lois Lane shows up. She's like, that's his mom. And he seems like pissed and chunks the spear and walks away. And Superman's like, my mother needs me. And he's like, no. You need to go to the freaking spaceship, because the spaceship's reacting. It's draining energy and power from the buildings. And he goes, I need to save my mother. He goes, Martha won't die tonight. Made the promise. That's what stopped the fight. The fact that he freaked out a little bit when he mentioned Martha, and then he finds out that in the end it was honestly just Lex putting them against each other. And the fact that he's like, no, I can't let Martha die, because that's kind of like my mom dying again, and this time I can do something about it. Superman flies off, but you can see it in his face when he looks at Lois. He kind of got the face like, dude, I just lost bad. He would have beat me to death. Like, I almost died, but I gotta go. And he flies off. Batman flies off. And in trailers, which we saw, which is the last trailer, we see the badass Batman fight scene. Dude, Arkham Knight, or like the game takes out, the game style takes out all these dudes, which was so beautiful. One of the best Batman fight scenes I've ever seen in any Batman movie. Just in case you were wondering, not my favorite Batman. He saves Martha in the most badass way possible. Superman arrives. Lex is like, well, you know, the man didn't do it, the devil will. And he releases Doomsday's like done, and he's like unleashes Doomsday. And Doomsday starts out just real basic, no bone, nothing. And they're fighting, and he's taking them into space. And Yosei is like, oh, dude, they're high enough. Nuke them, nuke them, nuke them. They get nuked in space. Doomsday lands. They're like, there's no re-entry of Superman. And you get a glimpse of Superman later on, and he's just like super thinned out, pencil, like Zorb, just dead looking, and you're just like, oh shit, that's cool, because that happens. So it's neat to, when you see stuff that happens in the comics almost like leap off the page onto the screen. Good job, whoever did their homework, good job. Beautiful person, you. That's exactly how I imagined it. Doomsday lands, and that's when you see him start to morph. He like tears his skin, bones start to grow on his back and arms and face. So little by little he morphs towards the Doomsday that we know. Not quite, even at the end, he's not quite there, but he is definitely not what we saw in the trailer. He definitely looks a little bit better in the face. He has more bone structure sticking out, so he's looking more like Doomsday. So I was cool with that. And throughout all this, Diana, Wonder Woman, is kind of seeing stuff happen on the news, and she's having this internal battle of whether or not she wants to help or not, because she left mankind a while back, and she's not sure if she should come back, because if she comes back, she can't just leave again. She's just trying to make a huge decision in her own life. She's trying to decide whether she's going to come back as Wonder Woman or just stay away and let them handle it. And of course, we get the badass Trinity fight at the end versus Doomsday when she shows up. And okay, 5 times that I saw this movie, every time she showed up, right there, she lands, blocks the beam, everybody claps. I mean, everybody. So that tells you something about that moment. And then Superman gets regenerated, reabsorbs the sun radiation. He shows up. You got the spear, and Batman's like, bitch, I'm busy. And then you see him standing there, and you got Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and you're like, oh, it's about to go damn. First one to jump, Wonder Woman. Whew. This last fight scene was badass as well. Like, I mean, this whole movie visually looks awesome, but Wonder Woman killed it. She's not in a whole lot. She's in a little bit. Kind of helped give us the first look of like Justice League. We got the Trinity right there. And I skipped the Justice League cameos, but I'll get back to that. Those are super important, but I'm going to talk about this and then I'm going to talk about those. So she jumps in. They're fighting Doomsday. She's cutting them. Superman's power, and just they're trying their best to contain him and to defeat him. And there's at one point she wraps the lasso around him and it glowed. I was like, holy fuck, it glowed. I was like, okay, cool, we saw the lasso, but it glowed. Me and my friend were like, what if Doomsday's like, I just really hate you guys suck. Oh, she does that. She actually cuts off Doomsday's arm, and you see it regrowing in this big old bone spike, and it's like regrowing and morphing. And that's when Superman, he ends up with the kryptonite spear, and he's flying towards Doomsday, shanks him in the chest, and Doomsday does the same thing to Superman. So huge spoiler, death of Superman. And me and my friend both said the same thing right after. We're like, how did we never thought about that happening in this movie? Why didn't we catch it? And we're like, dude, in the trailer we see Doomsday. What is Doomsday known for? Killing Superman. So I felt kind of like an idiot at that moment, because I was like, I should have known this. I should have guessed it. We saw Doomsday, but we didn't. So that was like, what the fuck? They're doing it? And they did. And they take down Doomsday in that moment. And then Superman has a huge ass hole in his chest. Then we have a double funeral. One for Superman in Metropolis with the black coffin, silver S. That was cool. Shout out to the black and silver S suit. And then we have a simple, more humane, more relaxed funeral for Clark at home with, you know, Bruce is there, Diana. It looked like Perry, and like they're all there. And they bury him. And then Lois drops this dirt on his coffin. And you could just, boom, we're inside the hole. And you see the dirt, and it kind of loses focus and focuses on a few grains, and those grains start to rise, and it cuts off. All right, now for some major pieces that I just skipped over on purpose. It's the Justice League moments, where we see our first look of Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg, and then we already seen Wonder Woman, but this is what sets it off. In that hard drive, or decryption information that Batman got from Lex early, he opens up a tab and it says MetaHuman. You have Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman, if I remember correctly, the order. He clicks on the Wonder Woman one, and it's pictures of Diana. And then there's a picture at the bottom that says Belgium 1918. Opens it up, and it's her. And it's a picture from the Wonder Woman movie. That's what it is, because you already got Chris Pine playing Trevor and stuff. So it's really cool, because it's like a tease to that movie. Kind of like, oh, I want to see that movie. So you see that, and then he sends that to her, and she opens it up, and he's like, I found the picture that you said it was yours, but it's not yours. It is you. And he's like, who the hell are you? What are you? And at the very bottom, he linked those other videos. She opens the Flash one first. And we're in like a mini mart, gas station, quickie mart, whatever. And he's getting something. And this dude's holding up the cash register. And you just see like him take off. The milk that he grabbed is still in the air. Dude at the register flies off into like a wall. And he comes back to catch the milk before it drops. And you see like little lightning and the with like fidgets. And you're just like, holy shit. first glimpse of Flash. But at the same time, on the file, it says red streak. I thought that was really neat because the red streak of him running. So then we could go to the Aquaman one, and we're 21,000 feet below sea level. That's deep. So, and they're in like this boat wreckage, these little robots, and then you see into like a hole on the side of the boat, and you see these blue glowing eyes, and as it comes closer, you see it's Aquaman, and hair's flowing underwater, and he does this weird like kind of rises, and when he takes off with the trident, he just like breaks it looks like the sound barrier or whatever underwater, he just doof, doof, and breaks everything. And then another one is the Cyborg one, which was intense because you see his dad monitor turns over, and Cyborg's like quarter of a body's there, like piece of this arm and the body and his face is all fucked up, and he's there attached to like wires, and dad's like, I'm trying to figure this out, I can't figure it out, he's gonna die, and then time passes by, and then you see a mother box, and he's like, blah 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 is activated, and it starts getting up and rises and attaches itself to Cyborg, and you see the limbs start to morph, and he starts screaming, and the dad cuts the video, and you're just like, two things just happened. One, we saw Cyborg becoming Cyborg. Two, mother box technology is already on Earth again. Darkseid. Apocalypse. So he's just like, holy shit, it's already here. So that was really cool, and I'm just excited to see those movies, and I'm excited to see where they go with these characters, because I know we got Justice League coming out next year and Wonder Woman coming out next year. All kinds of awesomeness coming. Lex in jail, and they're shaving him. That's how he loses hair and becomes bald. They shave him in prison, put him in prison, and then Batman shows up, and he walks up on him and has the brand right there, and instead of branding him, he hits the wall next to him, leaving the indention. And the whole entire time Lex was just babbling about the bell's been rung, you know, he's like, ding 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 ding, it's too late, he's hungry, he's coming, he's found us. Again, I think that's Darkseid from Apocalypse, because the mother box and the ship taught him about hundreds of thousand years worth of worlds information, and it just sounds very much like that's what he's talking about. The reason I mentioned the branding in Wall is because I think that's opening up Batman to being less brutal, because instead of branding Lex, he let him live. He didn't brand him, he didn't beat him, he just let him know that wherever you are, I will find you and I will keep you in check. So that might be showing the transition back to maybe when he first started, when he's not killing people, not being so brutal. Yo, if you like this video, smash that like button, and also if you have any questions, comments, feedback, if you've seen the movie, if you liked it, all that, please leave that down below, because I'd like to talk about it. Maybe there's a few things I missed that you noticed and you're like, yo, what about this? So please leave all that down below. Hit me up about anything and everything. And as always, it's a pleasure.